All right. Welcome to the first episode of the JP Podcast, which stands for Just Podcast. I am your host, JP Harlow. And today, for the first episode, we're also going to do a special episode that I like to call Bottom of the Barrel, where I, a miserable Cleveland Browns fan, will talk with other miserable friends of mine that root for equally as miserable franchises, such as today's topic, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, my first guest here is a former United States Marine. He is also a newly retired professional wrestler. Ladies and gentlemen, Branden Vice. There you go.
Woo! Thank you. I mean, wow, what an introduction.
And I mean, we also have a second guest. She was the Joker to my Batman at Mission Pro Wrestling for a while. I threw a elbow pad at her directly in the face. Ladies and gentlemen, she is one of the hosts of the Pop Break podcast, Amanda Rivas.
That's okay. Somebody's still salty about it. It's fine.
Salty
You're still
about what?
salty. You're still salty. Your men's revolution failed.
I didn't fail. It was we got like a 2.5 year run. What are you talking about, brother?
Did you do anything with it though? No. Did you
Yeah.
take over? No.
I won the Mission Pro Cup.
Did you win an actual belt?
No, I lost to a 16-year-old child, but that's neither here nor there. But she's a great competitor in her own right, and she cheated to win a no rules match, but I digress. All right, but we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah. We're here to commiserate. Today we are having a shared experience because you know why? That's all.
Oh, I hope both teams lose.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly not going to happen Thursday when your Dallas Cowboys open the season at the Link in Philadelphia against the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're not there yet. Okay? Before we get into any football, I just need to ask you guys, have you watched the new Netflix documentary series, High School Catfish?
Never even heard of it.
Okay, well, tonight, tomorrow, whenever you can, watch this documentary. It is the most mind-numbing thing I think I've ever watched.
Is this the one? Is it unknown? Is it the same thing as Unknown Caller or something like that? Is that the same?
Maybe. I don't know. I just remember it said like High School Catfish, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Basically, this high school couple starts getting like hundreds of thousands of text messages from this unknown number.
Okay, it is. Okay.
Yeah, yes. Basically like calling them like, sluts and a bunch of other bad stuff. And so this whole town is trying to figure out who it is. I don't want to spoil anything, but I mean, it happened like 3 years ago. So the ending's already out, ladies and gentlemen. It was the mom. The mom was texting her own daughter to like unalive herself. And
okay, this one made headlines, didn't it? Like I feel like I read it on People or people.com or something like that, like way back when.
Well, I didn't even know People still read People, but
it happens.
No, it's the craziest thing because like the mom will be like, they'll ask her, they're like, well, why did you do this? And she was like, well, I've had a lot of pain in my life and, I had something happen to me and I just didn't want it to happen to my daughter. So, I can, devise this whole scheme to make sure that nothing ever bad happened to her, except for the fact that you bullied your own daughter into depression.
Yeah.
Or was the mom doing extremely tough love?
You could make that argument.
Probably not, but I mean,
builds character, I suppose. Builds adversity. But
that's a crime. That's like cyberbullying. It's not.
I don't know though, because like it wasn't just like you suck, you're ugly. It was also like I'm gonna do this with your boyfriend and like do like very explicit, behind doors behavior, you know. But yeah, no, check that Netflix documentary.
I have to. You are now the third person who is like, go watch this. And I'm like, okay. Just got a message in my friend group chat that was like, have y'all seen this? So third person now.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that she evaded the cops for so long was like crazy. But the best part of the documentary for me was when they introduced the FBI agent, because the only thing in my mind was like, this dude has, like, this is his life, like tracking down, like, these, internet criminals, through cellular data and stuff. And the only thing I think, like, this dude probably gets so rock hard when something like this comes across his desk. Like, he's like, oh yeah, this is what he does before he goes, time to clock in,
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think about it that way. I don't know if I ever would have thought about it that way, but here we are.
Here we are. But we're not here to talk about children getting bullied. We're here to talk about how Jerry Jones is bullying his own team. He is his own worst enemy as far as owning a franchise goes. But I just got to ask you guys, like, I know how I became a miserable Cleveland Browns fan. Amanda, how did you become a fan of the Cowboys?
Well, I blame my mom. She made sure that from a very, very young age, I was in a toxic relationship and still continue to be in a toxic relationship with the Dallas Cowboys. There were 3 teams that ruled the household when I grew up. 1, the Dallas Cowboys. 2, Texas Longhorns. 3, San Antonio Spurs. That's what so that's what we ate, lived, breathed. So we had Super Bowl parties when they were in the Super Bowl way back when. My mom would paint her face. Like, she just had this huge fandom, and that just carried on to us. And we're still hanging in there.
Wait, you're saying your mom would paint her face for TV games?
Yeah, for Super Bowls. For any big like playoffs, like she would like paint her face, like she'd wear the jersey. She was a huge Troy Aikman fan.
Of course.
Yeah, that was her boyfriend. She's still like, he's still my boyfriend. And just, that was her whole thing. And so it's carried over since, and I have yet to exit this toxic relationship. I'm still here being punished like almost 20 years, 25, 30 years later.
Well, just remember, like any toxic relationship, it's the people around you that support you that will help you get out of this toxic relationship. But ultimately, it's up to you, Amanda. Now, Vice, what were like your earliest memories of being a Cowboys fan? Because like for me, I've only known pain and suffering, being a Browns fan, especially since I was born in 98, I've only known the Browns to suck. I wasn't there for the Bernie Kosar years. I wasn't there for the Otto Graham years. I've only known this dumpster fire factory of sadness that has been in Cleveland for years. But Vice, there's been some good years, for the Cowboys. But what is your earliest memory of being a Cowboys fan?
So I grew up in Central California. It was Niners and Raiders and terrible, terrible teams. And luckily, my mom and family, most of them are Cowboys fans, because they're here from Texas. So it was me, a Cowboys fan, and my brother, who was a Niners fan. I mean, I still haven't forgiven him for it, but, they had the little padded uniforms. So we got the Dallas Niners ones. And of course, we're in the front yard, Concussion City, just hitting each other, protective gear.
Oh, yeah. CT what?
Oh, yeah. But so that was my early experience. I grew up in the golden era, so I got Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin. Yeah, I still got the VHS.
You still got the VHS, bro?
Super Bowl 30. I was like, I got the tape still.
That's pretty cool, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Hey, do you have a VHS player that you sometimes put that puppy in a dark room and just the good old days?
I'm like the good old days. No, we need to though. Just put it in. I'm like the good old time when Dallas was good.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We're gonna segue into talking about the going-ons that have happened this off season for the Cowboys. There's been a lot, as far as teams go for the Cowboys this off season. But before we get into what everyone expects us to talk about, we're just going to kind of break it down as it went along. So I'm going to start out with the Dallas Cowboys. They fired McCarthy. They got rid of him. And they've hired Brian Schottenheimer to be the new head coach of the Boys. Now, are you guys familiar with Brian Schottenheimer much, or Vice? Sorry, Vice. Are you familiar with Schottenheimer at all?
A little. I know he's done a lot of offensive coaching. I was like, when I think of the name, though, of course, I think of the dad.
Okay, Amanda, what have you heard of old B Shot?
Definitely about his dad. But yeah, I know he was under the learning tree at the Seahawks, but just not a very great. It's a very mediocre record all the way around. I feel like is what I was like. Of course, we're back to we got mid. Okay, that's.
It's like everyone talks about journeyman quarterbacks, right? To me, Brian Schottenheimer is a journeyman coordinator. You look at his resume. he's been on the Jets during the Mark Sanchez year, so he's been on the St. Louis Rams when they were still a thing. He's been pretty much any team you can think of. That man has been a coordinator or quarterbacks coach of. Being a first-time head coach at 50 years old, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to say that he's gonna crap the bed. I think that there were better options.
Well, we know who's really going to coach the team, though.
Well,
the same head coach we've had all of this time.
And that's part of the problem, though, being a Cowboys fan, though, right?
Yeah.
He only hires people that he feels like he can control for the most part. Am I wrong?
No, totally right. He has his little string, his little marionette over there.
Mm-hmm. He fired a head coach right after they won a Super Bowl, and Jimmy Johnson, because Jimmy Johnson didn't toast him or something at a celebration party. So
all I really want is for whoever offended Jerry Jones just to come apologize, because we are the ones paying for it in Dallas. Please stop. That's all. Whoever hurt Jerry Jones. Please
but
stop.
Alas, you guys at least have 2 Super Bowls. I've only ever seen 2 playoffs in 20 plus years of fandom. So
yeah, I also hate to tell you that during our fantasy football draft, at the very tail end, some of the Browns reluctantly were drafted on teams.
What do you mean reluctantly? They got good players. Not a good team, but good players.
Very reluctantly drafted.
Okay.
They were grouped, so you had the quarterbacks, you had the running backs, and it's just Browns, and keep going. All right, so who's behind them?
See, this is where y'all are messing up, though. We got potentially 4 starting quarterbacks that we can plug and play at any time in the season. You could be having one hell of a rotation going on in that quarterback room.
Now, I'm all for garbage points, but that's going to be very hard with 4 different quarterbacks.
Well, that's the life of a Browns fan, unfortunately, is, even when we don't try, we end up cycling through 5 quarterbacks. So, it's tough. But we're not here to talk about the Browns, okay? We're not here to talk about Kevin Stefanski. We're not here to talk about Deshaun Watson. We're here to talk about Dem Boys, okay? There's of course, the Micah Parsons situation happened. We're not there yet, though, because the Cowboys lost more than Micah Parsons this offseason. They lost Zach Martin to retirement, who has been, an anchor for that interior offensive line for years. You can't. Of course, the Cowboys probably, haven't had the success I think most fans want them to have with as much money as they're paying people. But Zach Martin has been a rock for that offensive line. And they also lost opposite end defensive end pass rusher DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seattle Seahawks on a 3-year, $42 million deal. Now, Amanda, how do you feel about losing two cornerstones on both sides of the ball?
Oh, we're so screwed. I'm just going to say, I just, especially with DeMarcus leaving too, like Zach Martin, I get it. I kind of had a feeling he was close to retirement. And I'm like, you know what? We haven't, if you're going to retire, I guess now's the time to do it, just because we haven't made any significant progress at all. I don't blame him. DeMarcus Lawrence, I don't blame him for leaving either. Again, you put all of this effort, you make all of these like great plays, like you're putting your heart and soul to what's happening here, and nothing, and so I'm like, I mean, I don't know if going to the Seahawks was a better choice, but I guess, if you're settling for playing on kind of mid so far, maybe going to another mid isn't so bad. It's what you're used to, I guess.
They're in the rebuilding era, just like Dallas is. Dallas is a millennium. Seahawks is going to start to get to that.
Well, it's interesting you say that, though, Vice. Do you think Dallas is going into a rebuild? With as much money as they're spending on people, you think they're going into a rebuild?
We've been in a rebuild for the past, century.
Well, you guys made the playoffs not too long ago.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one. But I think once Dak leaves, I think they'll start building around. Because right now they're not really building around. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's great. Mm-hmm. You don't really have a running back anymore. No. Your wide receiver 2, we'll see how he does coming over. You don't really have a 3 because they're like mid-tier wide receivers. So,
right.
Yeah, they're not really doing much to rebuild. So I think after they loosen or they get rid of Dak, get all that money back, or have more money to work with, I think then you'll start to see them building around, hopefully.
Well, luckily by the time Dak is out of Dallas, Jerry will probably be dead. So,
that's what I was about to say. Honestly, it's we're not going to be able to rebuild until Jerry kicks the can. But then we're stuck with the son.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got the son, so you're not really out of the woods.
Until Jerry.
Until Troy Aikman buys the team. Troy, save us. Someone buy our team.
Well,
But I think maybe there might be a slim margin. Maybe if Jerry and Dak both leave. Maybe.
Well, I don't think
Brandon, let me have hope.
I don't think the Cowboys are as screwed as what a lot of Cowboys fans think they are, because, the next big name that left for the Cowboys, another cornerstone of that team, was the blockbuster Micah Parsons trade. Now, Vice, on this trade, you give up a player to the level of Micah Parsons. I saw a lot of Cowboys fans saying stuff like, "Oh, he wasn't even really that good." Yes, he was. He was that good. He had 52.5 sacks in his first 4 years in the NFL, while my franchise defensive end, Myles Garrett, only recorded roughly low 40s in 4 years. He is that good. We'll see how good he is now dealing with the injuries he's dealing with. But in this trade, the Cowboys didn't walk away with nothing. They ended up getting a 3-time Pro Bowl nose tackle, Kenny Clark, as well as a first-round pick in 2026 and 2027. Now, taking it back to what you said earlier, you said that, the Cowboys might be in a rebuilding phase. I don't disagree with that, but I don't think they're in a full dumpster fire rebuild. I think they can like quietly rebuild without having to start from the ground up. How do you feel about the Micah Parsons trade?
Like it was good and bad. Like Dallas letting him walk away, it really showed the fans that he doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter. Yeah, we got a good player out of it. We got some good picks out of it. We were talking about this earlier, and I'm sure Amanda's going to touch on it, so I won't even go there. But, with them playing so long, they're going to start to wear and tear. So I think getting rid of them now, we're going to be able to pick up those players. And like I said, we don't have to do a full-blown rebuild. But, yeah, next we'll get maybe a really good running back. And then you got some good, linemen. I think the rookie's going to do good. I'm hoping he does really good to replace Zach. But, you're going to have others that are going to start to go the way too, because it's kind of like creeping to an older team now.
Right. Amanda, how do you feel about old Mikey Parsons going away?
I mean, it sucked because he did so much for our team. But also, I think I would have been more concerned if this was Micah Parsons of a couple of years ago. Right. Because the injury part of it is significant. And he doesn't – Micah goes full – it's either all or nothing. So his style is going to continue to lead to more injuries and longer lengths of time being out because he's now rushing – I mean, even last season he was rushing himself back quite a bit. And that's not going to stop with the other teams. Now he's older. And, so you have that combination of, not the most strategic playing style and the aging process kicking in too. So I think, yes, at some point we were relying on him a lot, but also, again, the injury factor was going to keep him out no matter what. I think we have a lot of potential with these 2 first-round picks. And of course, with Kenny Clark, I think it was a good trade. I just wish I had more faith in how Jerry is going to navigate choosing the needs that we have. I agree with Brandon. We need a better running back. Mm-hmm. We have a whole bunch. We have 3 of them right now that we have no idea how they're going to do. I do agree, though, that out of the 3 that we now have, Blue is going to be probably the most productive. And it's just it's really going to come down to how are we going to use these 2 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. I think that we can rebuild. We have some good cornerstone pieces against CeeDee Lamb if we can keep him. He is incredible.
Well, I mean, he just signed an extension, did he not?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So as long as we keep him happy, if Pickens can be productive for us, wide receiver-wise, we should be okay. We have Jake Ferguson. And he's pretty consistent. Dak really likes him, and he can catch the ball.
Newly engaged to one of the Convender twins.
Yeah. Right. So and I mean, we don't have, we're not in a dumpster fire completely. We have some good, strong players that we can work with. It's just now being smart about where we apply those first round picks to fill our biggest needs. And that's where I worry that Jerry is going to misread the situation.
Right. And see, I don't even look at it as necessarily a rebuild. I kind of look at it as a build upon, right? You're building upon what you have because you have good pieces. It's not a complete 2016 Cleveland Browns, where we went 0-16, where, we had Myles Garrett, but that was it. That's a rebuild. You guys have pieces to build upon. And I think having, the draft picks are great and all, but I don't think the Packers are going to, be a top 10 pick. I don't even think the Cowboys will be a top 10 pick, if I'm being honest. You guys will have mid-round picks, I think, but there's still a lot of, what was the word I'm looking for? I don't know why I went blank. There's still a lot of value in mid-round picks in the first round, especially with the, I don't think you're going to get a Reuben Bain from Miami to replace a Micah Parsons. But, as we've seen in the past couple drafts, especially this last draft class, pass rushers are basically the new quarterbacks. Like they're getting paid crazy money. There's just an influx of pass rushing talent that I think the Cowboys will benefit from. And Jerry Jones doesn't have to pay his money to retain for a while, until you go back in that cycle. If he ends up being good. But no, let's talk about some of the new additions to the Cowboys this year. Kenny Clark, we've talked about him, 3-time Pro Bowler as a nose tackle. You guys also just re-signed Osa Odighizuwa, who is like a premier defensive tackle. And I'll say this, I think defensive tackles and nose tackles have to be one of the, most looked down upon position. Because if you can get a good push in the middle there, right there in the interior, open up some holes for the linebackers. If not yourself, rush the quarterback from within, force him out to the D ends. That's a good pairing. You got a veteran like a Kenny Clark. You've got, you got Osa, who's still cementing his name as a premier interior defensive lineman. I think the combination of those two could potentially make up for a Micah Parsons loss. Now, Amanda, how do you feel about a pairing of a Kenny Clark and Osa Odighizuwa?
I'm happy about that. I'm happy about that because our defense is something that we're known for. And it's something that I think we've really worked hard to still try to maintain and cultivate despite all of the chaos that surrounds our team. That's why people pick them for fantasy football usually. They put up points. How it's going to shake out this year, we will see. But we did a good job of re-signing, quite a few of our, kind of our key people. And so I think that helps that we retained quite a few people that we needed to retain. So it's not like we're completely rebuilding the defense either. It's, again, we added, but we re-signed. And I think that was really smart in that we were able to do that, especially re-signing somebody like Osa. That's big for us. So I think, again, it's not going to be a completely just we're rebuilding the defense. We have some of our key pieces. We can keep working with what we have. And yes, it's going to take some time for kind of the dust to settle with all of the movement, but I think we're still in a good position to get back to having a solid defense like we're known for having.
I think that's a fair assessment. Now, Vice, getting Kenny Clark and getting Osa Odighizuwa, I've just learned how to say his name today. So I've been saying it nonstop, so I didn't mess it up. And I probably still am. But, there are some more additions to the Cowboys this offseason, especially the ones that stuck out to me the most as far as free agent signings go were on that defensive line. They ended up signing, a journeyman pass rusher, if you will, a Dante Fowler Jr., who, let's be honest, hasn't lived up to his 4th overall pick from clear back in like 2015, 2016 with the Jaguars. He's played for, I think, almost every team in the NFL at this point. He's had a lot of lows, but he's also had some when he lives up to his potential, he is a dang good pass rusher. And he's just coming off a 10.5 sack season for the Commanders, And they also signed another draft bust. I wouldn't label Dante Fowler as a bust necessarily, but this guy is a bust. A 3rd overall pick to your brother's favorite team clear back in the day, a Solomon Thomas. He has not lived up to any billing. He plays defensive tackle. What do you think adding value with, pretty much a project, see if he still has anything left to give defensive tackle in Solomon Thomas and a journeyman defensive end in Dante Fowler Jr.?
I actually thought Dallas did really well with that. It's smart because you're doing 1 to 2 year contracts. You're getting in there. You're getting some experience on that line. They're going to be able to teach and show these younger guys, hey, here's some tips and tricks that I've gotten along the ways. Mm-hmm. And I think it also bring more leadership because, you have your leaders there, but they're not like older leaders, and now you got these journeymen, you got people with experience, you got people that have been in the pits, and they're like, hey, just listen to us. We can show you what to do, and then you guys have this run-in. Let us help us plug and play.
I really like that. I mean, it's hard to say, you don't want to say somebody sucks when they're playing the highest level of football. Clearly they are talented enough to be there. I fully root for a Dante Fowler Jr. successful season. Like I said, Solomon Thomas, I mean, he played for Stanford. I don't like Stanford. They're a bunch of nerds. They're a bunch of, literary accounting nerds, and to be quite frank, he has not lived up to any hype. Now, do I wish him to suck? No, I do not wish him to suck. But I do think it is kind of a big question mark as to why they would sign a guy like that. Yes, it adds depth. And yes, it's like a 1-year deal. But, you could have used some of that money to maybe keep Micah Parsons. I don't know.
Maybe he'll be more motivated to play here because he came from the Jets. He was playing for the Raiders and the Jets, and
See, I didn't even know that. When I saw that they had signed Solomon Thomas, I was like, I thought he was out of the league. I thought he was playing like in the XFL, but it's good to know that, the old.
He came from the Jets.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's good to know the old, Solomon train is still trucking on the tracks, the career is still beaten, Man, it was the best when I figured out that I could do a soundboard on here. Oh, man. I was like, I'm going to have way too much fun with this. But speaking of fun, let's take a break real quick from a word from our sponsors, okay? This podcast is sponsored by absolutely nobody. If you would like to sponsor the JP podcast, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter. You can hit me up on email, book.jpharlow@gmail.com. Let's get a deal worked out. Let's get some money in my pocket for advertising dollars. But you know what? Let's go back to the show. And we're back.
Can we say best transitions in and out ever?
Hey, we're working with a limited budget here. But no, so their free agent signings, I would say, were hedging bets, right? They're trying to see what they can get for the least, with signing a lot of their guys that they signed this free agency season to small, 1 to 2 year leases, right? But I'll say this. The Dallas Cowboys had a pretty good draft. They, Zach Martin ended up retiring, but they did take who many regard as the best, interior offensive lineman in Tyler Booker from Alabama. I think a Tyler Booker is a guy you can throw out there week 1 and you will get production out of him. He's a rookie. Is he going to be as solid as a Zach Martin? No, he's going to make mistakes. He's a rookie. Joe Thomas made mistakes when he was a rookie. You guys also drafted Donovan. Now this one is tough. Ezra Kua, from Boston College. No matter how you say his name, the dude's a beast. In any other draft class, he probably would have been a first-round pick. So the fact that the Cowboys were able to get a first-round talent in the second round, I mean, getting rid of Micah Parsons is a big head-scratcher, yes. But, if you have a Dante Fowler Jr., who is coming off a 10.5 sack season, you have this Donovan Ezra-Ruka on the other side of the ball. And if he can produce, are you really missing out on a Micah Parsons? Vice, I'll let you go first.
With them being so good, I would say no, but at the same time, Parsons had that it. He had that effect. Like when he's in there, you're just like, all right, that's the guy we need to stop.
Yeah.
These newer guys, they're gonna have their chance to show it. I mean, if they have that thing, then good on them, and hopefully they can do great for Dallas. But that's gonna be the only thing that's missing is, yeah, you got all this talent, you got all these hard workers, but are they gonna have that it factor?
Right. And Amanda, two other names that the Cowboys drafted this season that really jumped out to me was quarterback Siobhan Ravel Jr. from Eastern Carolina, who, again, in many mock drafts, I don't know if you guys follow many mock drafts, but in a lot of mock drafts, they had this kid like going in the top 10, to a team. Somehow he falls to the third. I don't really know the story behind that. I don't know if he got injured. I don't know if there was issues off the field. I don't know.
It was an injury.
It was an injury.
Yeah. Was it
Okay.
shoulder Vice, I think? Yeah.
Oh, is he even playing this year then?
No, he should.
He should be playing. It just, I think at the time he was injured, and then of course he'd been out for a little bit with his injury, and so it was is he going to have the same amount of production?
Okay,
because he had been out for a bit.
Right. Okay, I'm about to flame this boy up. Like I was about to like raise his stock and just find out he wasn't even playing this year. But
his stock is still high. It's just that was a question mark. Is is he going to be at the level that he was now that he's recovered?
Right. And he also played for a smaller school too. He wasn't necessarily playing a Georgia or an Oregon or an Iowa State, level of competition. Pop-Tart Bowl champions, Iowa State. And that name popped out to me as like a great, mid-round steal. You could get a first-round talent. Another name, you guys keep bringing up running backs, how you guys need a running back. You guys drafted a home state talent in Jaden Blue. Now, Amanda, how do you feel about Siobhan Ravel Jr. and Jaden Blue and how they will perform this season for the Cowboys?
I'm excited. I thought they were. I know that both have their issues. Again with Siobhan, it's going to come down to, and I want to say I think it was shoulder. Is the shoulder going to be there? And I think it will. Again, he's young, and I think will it be at 100%? Like all people who've been injured, we know it's never fully at 100%. But you're going to give all you can, especially with him being as young as he is. I think he's still going to be pretty darn close to 100%. And so I think again with the experience around him and whatnot, I think he has the potential to thrive. The one that I'm a little more nervous about because of and I think it's just going to come down to kind of the experience that Blue gets with Javonte and Miles, or is it Miles Sanders that we got? Was the other one? Yeah, Miles Sanders. And so I think it's just
great talent.
Yeah, they're great talent, but they've played on other teams. And I think that's, they're not Dallas talent. They haven't been with Dallas very long, and they're new to Dallas as well. So, again, I think with Siobhan, he has the potential because he has Dallas grown people around him and people familiar with the system and how they play. Jaden Blue is going to have a little bit more of a challenge because there's no true running back stability. There's no, Rico Dowdle to learn from, it's or Pollard. Like there's no one. It's all the running backs we have are new technically, but he still should get some good beneficial experience again from Javonte, from Miles. It's just now figuring out, in what's the pecking order really going to be at a certain point in time, and which of these running backs are going to work for the system. And so I'm hoping that Jaden has the potential to be the next franchise running back. I think to me that he feels like the long-term plan to be the next key running back for Dallas. And I think he has a good shot of doing that. Here's hoping anyway, but I have a lot of hope for these two.
Okay. No, I think, when you look, like I already said, you look at this Dallas Cowboys draft class, I think they got some real hits here. I really do. yes, you kind of have to throw a question mark next to Donovan Ezaraku because, yeah, he played for Boston College, up there in Boston. They play the ACC. What talent do they really play in the ACC other than Florida State, Clemson? You certainly can't say the Bill Belichick Tar Heels. They just got trounced by the Horned Frogs and their furry quarterback. A literal furry quarterback, guys.
Yeah.
Like, literally, hey, man, this is what I have to say to the TCU quarterback. Why you admit I'm not for bullying, okay? We don't bully, but if there is one group of people you should bully, it is furries because it's weird. And now,
anyway,
anyway.
I was going to do a whole angle on that. Emos versus furries. It was.
Wait, what's this angle?
I was going to have Devin Carter. I told him, I was like, you're going to be the furry leader. I was like, and we're just going to have a fight. I was like, the emos versus the furries.
Well, what?
We never got to go to it, though.
I feel like Devin would be a fox.
Well, as the leader, I mean, he could be whatever he wants.
I mean, yeah, he could, but I'm just saying, like, if I had to guess what kind of furry Devin would be.
Oh, definitely a fox.
It would be a fox, right? Like, I get fox vibes from him.
A little pink foxtail. Yep.
A little pink cartoon fox. Sorry, Devin. We're not poking fun, maybe a little bit, but we're not, hitting you any harder than Travis Cuddy did in that viral Twitter clip.
Yes. Nothing but love, Devin.
Hey, whatever gets you over, if it's your selling, who cares? Whatever gets you over, Shit. I wish I could get over,
Are you telling me the technical gesture is not able to get over?
I mean, here and there, brother. It depends on the crowd.
I mean, I know you're having a hard time, but
oh man. Speaking of hard times, this is a big year, I feel like, for the Dallas Cowboys. How do they respond to losing a Micah Parsons? How do they respond to losing a DeMarcus Lawrence and a Zach Martin all in the same year? How can these new signees, how can these new rookies step up to fill those shoes? How can a Solomon Thomas and a Dante Fowler Jr., add that little bit of edge to help Cowboys win close games? Because if there's one thing about the NFL is most of these games are close. They usually come down to a field goal. They come down to one mistake. And speaking of mistakes, is this a Dak Prescott prove-it year? Amanda, do you believe that Dak Prescott is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys to take them all the way? Do you feel like Dak Prescott has gotten a bad rap? Because the stats are there. You can argue all you want that he isn't the guy, but the stats are there. How do you feel about the upcoming season for Dak Prescott?
Well, Dak has to do something at this point. He knows he is the ridicule at this. Yes, he does well in regular season, about as well as he can when he's not injured. Again, I have yet to see any X-rays from this mystery injury. I want to see the X-rays, but where are the X-rays? Where are the X-rays, Dak?
Forget the Epstein files. We want the X-rays.
Right. He does well in regular season, but when it matters, when we're in the playoffs, it's like he forgets to play. And I'm like, no, I get having a good standing in regular season is important, but I'm like, Dak, come on. This is do or die. We need you to show up all year round, not just during regular season. My fantasy team appreciates it here and there when I do have him on, but I need you to do something in the playoffs. I need you to take us all the way. And he shows flashes in regular season that he has the potential, but then he gets in his own head, and you can see him thinking out. For me, my issue with Dak is he doesn't really understand the fundamentals of football. I think if he did, I say that because I don't think, it's not instinctive to him. Like, even after all of this time, you can see like he has to like think of what moves he's got to do. And like, you can see him literally thinking through everything, where I'm like, you see other quarterbacks and they know it. Their muscle memory knows it. Their bodies know it. He doesn't have that ability. And so I also think he's been buoyed by the people around him, by the CeeDee Lambs, by, his running backs at the time. Like, he's been buoyed up by other people. So they've also helped his stats out a lot. He's been buoyed by the defense. And so it's like, now you got to put up or shut up, man. you have to, like, otherwise, we're just going to continue on to mediocrity until we get rid of him, until he decides to retire, because we're never going to get rid of him. Jerry loves him. He's media pretty. He is media pretty. That's all he brings to the team, is he has a nice smile, and he can talk and do commercials.
Right.
He's pretty. That's all he can bring at this point. Like, he's got good social media presence, if you will, and
Right.
which has nothing to do with football, but he can do everything else but football.
Freaking A-Train rolling through.
I know.
My God, calling out his football IQ, calling out his quarterback awareness, saying all he is a social media quarterback. I love it.
It's facts,
I love
though. It's facts. I'm like, I'm every season, I'm looking at him like, stop thinking through the moves. Like, you should know this shit by now, bro.
Hey, he played for Mississippi State, okay? Like, what? Like, this is what this podcast is about: in-depth hating. And if there's a player that you think needs to go, don't hold back. I don't care.
That's the one.
Dak needs to go, and Jerry.
I'm just saying he's doing well this year. You just got paid. You really don't have to work anymore. You already got that contract. So
true. And I mean, I love nothing more than fans like us telling professional football players that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, I say it all the time. No matter if the Browns quarterback throws for 300 yards, it's like, okay, but why'd you throw 3 pick sixes? Like, there's something off there. You don't know ball like I do. Okay, put me on the field. Okay,
I mean, you might as well just put me on the field at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Can probably throw it before Dak can.
Now, Vice. Tomorrow is the NFL kickoff. We got the Cowboys versus the Eagles in Philadelphia at the Link. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're coming off a big Super Bowl victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. How important is it for Dak Prescott not only to perform well in this game, but for the Cowboys team to win this game to set a tone for the rest of the season?
it's like do or die already for the season. It's the first game, and you're going into enemy territory. Our most hated rivals. I mean, you got the Redskins right there, but Philly's just and if you don't make a statement, then, you pretty much just told everyone else, hey, we're good. We're not going to do anything the rest of the season. So
hey, I love that you said Redskins, brother. Hail Tribe. Hail Tribe.
They're coming back.
Hail Tribe, brother. No, I got to agree, though. Like the Browns, they're playing the Bengals. No one's expecting anything from the Browns this year, Like, they're – the quarterback carousel. Is Stefanski a good coach? He is. What's happening with this player? What's happening with that player? There's not a whole lot of expectations for my team this year. And if they do good, great. If they don't do good, then same old, But for the Cowboys, I don't think they have a team that is bad enough to be a top 5 pick. I think they will win close games. I feel like they could beat a Philadelphia Eagles team if everybody is clicking on the same wavelength. And I couldn't agree more with what you said. Like, I don't think there is a worse game for this Dallas Cowboys team week 1 than against division rival Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Eagles, because it is do or die. This game sets the tone for the whole season. And if Dak goes out there and craps the bed, well, crap, like, well, yeah, you're going to bounce back against the Giants. Like, Giants aren't going to do nothing. Like, are you going to – the Cowboys are nut up or shut up week 1. And that is a back against the wall mentality, in my opinion.
I also think the defense this is going to be the defense's moment too, because you know, all of these untested, picks that we have now, we got to stop Saquon, we got to stop Hurts, like you got to stop AJ, you got to stop Devontae. Like, you have to be on guard with everybody in Philly. Boo, y'all suck. But anyway, you have to be able to stop them, and this is do or die. It really is. I think even more so because of all of the new pieces that we have this year. So the pressure's not entirely on Dak, although he's going to be the front runner of the pressure. But I mean, again, you have our new head coach. You have almost again, pretty new defense. So the pressure is on them as well. And then the running backs to try to figure out how to get past Philly's defense. So really there is, I think, even more pressure on the team this year than in previous years.
I couldn't agree more, especially these rookies that they're going to be throwing out there, especially these project-free signings. There's a lot more prove-it years going on this team other than a Dak Prescott. If a Dante Fowler Jr. can get a 12-sack season, well, what does that mean for him long-term? If a Solomon Thomas can have a career resurgence, well, what does that mean for the interior? Trevon Diggs, whether you want to agree with this or not, he is the rock of that defense now. All the other stars have left. This is Trevon Diggs' defense now. Now, before we get off here, I just got to ask you guys point blank. Vice, what is your prediction for the Cowboys-Eagles kickoff game on Thursday?
It pains my heart, but I don't see this going Dallas's way. In the preseason, you've seen it. The Eagles are already running full steam. They're clicking. It's going. And Dallas has been tinkering along. I don't want to say it, but the Eagles are going to win it, and it's not going to be a very nice game. I can see like 2 or 3 score deficit.
You think the Eagles will win by 2 or 3 scores?
If Dallas is not that first series, if they go out there and they shit the bed, and Philly sees that, they're going foot to the gas. Hey, let's take it to them, especially since they're like, it's Dallas. Screw these guys. Wow. I can see them just ranking it. They're like, let's make a statement. We're going to the Super Bowl again. Dallas is going to be our canvas to paint.
What do you think final score will be?
Probably like 24-27, somewhere in there for Eagles. Dallas maybe 10 to 13.
10 to wow.
I'm not aiming high for this. There's not a lot of
wow. Okay. So you're saying you got this kind of mentality
from the kickoff.
Now, Amanda, how do you feel like this game's going to shake down?
Unfortunately, I also think the Eagles will win it. I hate saying that. It hurts my heart. But again, they have good team synergy. They're the Super Bowl champs for a reason. They trounced Kansas City. We all saw it. Boring game as that was, we all saw it. Yeah, I don't care. I'm going to throw shade. It's the Eagles. I will always throw shade at the Eagles, just like the 49ers. They can eat a bag of dicks.
Ooh,
I will say it. I don't care. But I can't deny.
Train rolling through.
I can't deny, though, that they are a good team, and they have, again, a lot of offensive weapons. Against Saquon is terrifying. If you let him get out in the open, that was the Giants' hugest mistake, was letting him go. And then you have Jalen Hurts that you can't. He's their quarterback moves. So I mean, it's a lot to try to contain with a relatively new-ish team that is very untested, with a lot of untested pieces, a lot of uncertainty. A quarterback like Dak And also, again, you don't have Micah Parsons to back, to go catch Hurts. So there's a lot of, and then Trayvon Diggs, I think he is, so our Diggs is solid, but he's also somebody I worry about from an injury perspective. So it's asking a lot on people to step up right off the bat, but I don't think it's going to be as horrible as Brandon says. I think I could see maybe a 2-score, not a 3, but maybe a 2-score, 1 to 2 score deficit. I think the nice thing though about having the pieces that we do have is that on the other side of it, you being untested means that you're going to want to prove yourself. And you're going to push, I think these young ones are going to push themselves. These rookies are going to push themselves to have a really good showing, knowing that they're going up against Philly and knowing that people expect them to lose and lose badly. I think maybe it'll motivate some of the younger, and I think maybe it'll motivate the whole team to at least try to come out and put up some sort of fight. That's my thought anyway.
You hear that, Dallas? Chip on the shoulder.
Oh, chip on the shoulder mentality. I mean, before I go into my diatribe, Amanda, what do you think the final score will be?
I'm going to guess probably something like maybe, I'm trying to think like 21 Philly 14, maybe. I think it's going to be a relatively low scoring game. I don't know.
Who's scoring 21? Philadelphia?
I think Philly. I don't think they're going to push themselves that hard against us either. I think they are. I think because we're Dallas, they're going to try to show us up a little bit. But I also don't see them wanting to risk some of their pieces. Like, again, A.J. Brown just coming back. I mean, he's had time to recover, but he lost time with injury. Devontae's lost time with injury. I don't think they're going to want to push it too hard in the regular season. I think they'll still put up a fight, but I also think they're not going to want to rush and hurt their key people either.
Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with you both. Like, this is a big game for the Cowboys, week 1. It's a long season. Anything can happen. I think that I do too believe that the rookies will have a good showing because they got to step up. They have no choice but to step up. I feel like Osa Adigazua and Kenny Clark will get good interior pressure for that Dallas Cowboys interior. What kind of freaks me out the most is Brian Schottenheimer has been a journeyman offensive coordinator for most of his career. I don't really know who they have running their defense, but that does worry me a little bit. I'm going to give Philly the win here. I think Philly scores 28. I think the Cowboys can score 17. I think it'll come down to – I feel like the Eagles will come out hot. They'll kind of cool off a little bit. Cowboys will inch a little closer, and then they'll pull away. So my final prediction is Philly, because you also got to factor in the Philly crowd. They threw batteries at Santa Claus. I think it'll be a 28-17 game in favor of the Eagles. Now, before we get off here, we're about to hit the hour mark. We're going to do a little segment I like to call Story Time. But first, a word from our sponsor. This podcast is sponsored by absolutely nobody. If you would like to sponsor the JP Just Podcast, please hit me up on Instagram or Twitter at jpharlow_2 or email me at book.jpharlow@gmail.com and let's get a deal done. And we're back for the final segment of the show, Story Time. Now, Vice, me and you, we went to a Dallas Cowboys game once. And what was probably one of the most entertaining, it was a great game, but just give me your insight on your experience with me at an NFL game.
Well, it's kind of a skewed perspective. I think we're missing a shoe, or Maybe the ground was uneven, but but I mean, overall, it was a good atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of got lost on the way out. It was great, but
Yeah. Oh man. So to paint the picture for y'all, because I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about or what we're talking about. So Branden Vice, myself, Casey Blackrose, Chris Marvel, and Sho Funaki all went to a Dallas Cowboys game about 2 years ago. It was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers's it wasn't the first game, was it?
The debut of
Aaron. No, the week before he blew his Achilles out.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers in Dallas. And, Coach Funaki, man, he is the most interesting man as far as things that he like. He is a man that was born in Japan, that lives in San Antonio, Texas, that is somehow a fan of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, right? So he moves to New York. Freaking Aaron Rodgers goes to New York. He shows up to training the next day, full Jets gear.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was around, was it his birthday? Around his birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around his birthday. And so they're like, oh, yeah, he wants to go watch Aaron Rodgers for his birthday. So we're going to go and, have a great time. Well, he blows his Achilles out. So now we have to watch Zach Wilson. And the night before, I think it was an RCW show, and I don't know why the show ran long and ring teardown took forever. We didn't get out of there till midnight 1 a.m. And we had to be back at the school at
I think it was 8.
No way. I thought it was early. I thought it was at least 6 a.m.
No, I think we left almost 8 because we were waiting. It was
waiting for
7,
me.
yeah.
So the night before, I didn't go out drinking. I didn't go out partying. I didn't stay up and play video games. But in my head, I was like, man, I should probably stay up and just sleep on the drive. But you know what? I'm gonna get some Z's in. I'm gonna chill. Your boy overslept. Slept by his alarm. I wake up to a phone call from you, being like, "Where are you?" I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm in a tailspin. I'm in my underwear. I just got out of bed." I'm like, I'm on my way. I'm right down the street.
We're like, he hasn't left yet.
I'm pretty sure I heard Marvel say, "I hear you locking your door."
Yeah.
And
we're like, all right, we'll see you when you get here.
So I jump in my car. It's early in the morning. Thank God it was Sunday. I'm not even kidding you, dude. I don't drive this irresponsibly or this recklessly ever. But I drove 80 miles per hour. I'm not kidding you, through the city of San Antonio. And I think I only stopped at one red light. Zoomed 20 minutes to the school, got there. And I'm like, so everyone's like, just get in. Just get in. I'm like, all right, yeah, I know, I'm the villain. We stop at this Buc-ee's. We stop at a Buc-ee's. And I get out, and I'm like, man, something feels weird. Why do I feel weird? I look down, I'm wearing a dress shoe. It was very reminiscent of a pilgrim shoe. And was I wearing just a tennis shoe, right?
Yeah. It was a tennis shoe.
And I think it was Coach Funaki that pointed out, he goes, JP, your feet. And I was like, huh? I'm like, oh, fuck me. God damn it. And then you guys see it, and you're like, oh. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to go buy some shoes at Buc-ee's. They got shoes, right? Well, I was wrong. They didn't have shoes at Buc-ee's, but they had flip-flops, $45 flip-flops. And so I had to buy I had to raw dog my feet through a Dallas Cowboys game at Jerry World in flip-flops.
Yeah. And then the 2-mile walk around because we got lost.
Yep. Well, we got into the stadium fine. That was no issue. And then do you remember the drunk chick and her husband that the chick was drunk and the husband was sitting in front of us, and then she's clear at the end of the aisle being like, where are you? Where are you?
They're pulling her down.
Yeah. We're at the top of the stadium. And he's
literally, the very top. We're like, oh shit.
They're wrestling. at the top of the stadium. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to die. Like, these people are going to die. Like, she's all drunk and belligerent. And then I remember what he said, it lasted with me. He goes, "This is why I do this alone." And one more story on that game. Did I tell you my interaction with Charles Haley?
You started to, and I think we got detoured by Funaki and Marvel.
Oh, okay. So, there was a free autograph signing in one of the concourses for Charles Haley. And I was like, shit, I'll go get a free autograph from a Hall of Famer. And so me and Casey go to the concourse or whatever. And, I had 2 towels. I was like, whatever, right? And so we finally get in the line, and he signs the towel. And I was just like, hey, man, would you mind signing this for my dad? My dad's not a Cowboys fan. He's a Vikings fan. But I was like, it'd be cool to like give him a Charles Haley autograph, plus it's free, right? And I'm like, hey, man, would you mind signing this for my dad? And he just looks at me and goes, man, I don't give a fuck about your dad. Move your ass. And I just stand there and I'm like, yes, sir. I've never been poked harder in my life than a geriatric old man that could probably still split me in 2, being like, man, I don't give a fuck about your dad. Move your ass.
But you did get some good waffle sauce out of that trip, so I mean.
Oh yes, on the ride back, we stopped at Waffle House, and you knew it was going to be good because there was a very old lady, the love of my life, named Rose. I mean, she had to be pushing 85, chain smoking, and she, don't think she stopped smoking because somebody actually showed up. No, she let us walk into the restaurant. She finished her cigarette and then came in. And so we all ordered, and I didn't even know Waffle House had this condiment, but she just goes, in this voice, she goes, "Would you boys like some waffle sauce?" And now I'm flustered because I'm like, does she call syrup waffle sauce? I was under the impression this woman called maple syrup waffle sauce. And I'm like, yeah, sure.
I love how you're like, well, what is it?
Oh yeah. I said, yeah. Well, it isn't. And then she throws these fucking, ketchup packets down on the table, and she's like, it's like a spicy mayo. And I'm like, what?
Why would you put that on your waffle?
But it was good though. I put it in my hash brown and Philly cheesesteak bowl, and I can't go to Waffle House without waffle sauce now. So thank you, Rose. Thank you for your service. And yes, we got tragically lost in the Dallas Cowboys parking lot for about 2 hours.
Everyone just heckling Funaki the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, was he wearing his Green Bay stuff?
No, the Jets. He had the Jets.
Oh, the Jets. That's right.
Yeah. Head to toes, Jets.
Oh, how did y'all get lost for 2 hours?
So they're like, "Oh, your car's over here." So we're like, "Okay," and we keep walking. I was like, "This is into the parking lot that we did." So we're like, "Okay." So we Googled it, and it's like way on the other side. We're like, "All right, cool."
Marvel was pissed. Anyway.
Yeah, he was.
Which I would be too, but
He said, "Do you know where you're going?" I said, "No." And I put it out there. I was like, I have no clue where we're at.
We were next to a lot of RVs.
Yeah, so we're walking. We're like, "Oh, there's a bunch of RVs. We're right over there."
No,
no,
we were further than right over there. We were the opposite side of the stadium, close.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever been to Jerry World, is it's massive. You do some walking. But hey, thank you guys so much for coming on today, being the first episode. I hope to talk to you guys again later in the season. Check in on you guys, see if you guys are pulling your hair out or reveling in victory. But I'll give you guys a moment to plug anything that you would like to plug. We'll start with you, Vice.
So you can find me on Instagram at Branden Vice. I'm also on X at HAVOK1775. You can find our cosplay page at Brandalorian. That's BRANDA Lorian. And yeah, I'll let her take it over from there.
The sound effects are just going to kill me, and I'm here for it. Thanks for having us on. Super excited. And of course, anytime you want us back on, we're happy to come back on. And of course, I'm always going to pencil you in on the socially distanced as well. We check my co-host and friend Bill Botkin and I out every Thursday on all streaming platforms. We drop our new episodes. Of course, go listen to JP's. We had him on for Peacemaker Season 2, the premiere. And also, if you want to check out Creature Commandos, I know it's been a little bit, but you want that refresher, JP was on that episode with us, and it's been fantastic. So we cover different pop culture topics each and every week. So check us out. We just recorded our league fantasy football draft yesterday. So that is going to be lovely and chaotic when that drops. It was great. And it was a lot of fun. So, and then of course, next week we will be talking about the second half of Wednesday Season 2. I am also the co-host of our Anime Pop podcast with my co-host and friend Josh Sarnecki, where we talk about different anime topics each and every month of the third Monday of the month. We drop our new episodes, and this upcoming one for this month will be on Demon Slayer, the Infinity Castle movie arc. So we will be talking about that. And yeah, just check out the Pop Break on all social media platforms. And you can also follow me at Mandalorian on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again so much for coming on for the debut episode. It was an honor and a privilege to not only have you guys on, but just to catch up. It's been a minute. But thank you guys again so much. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment. Don't be afraid to throw Amanda Rivas some hate for her general managing duties. Not her podcast. Her podcast is good. We stay away from the podcast. But her general managing duties, make sure to follow them on all their socials that they just plugged. And thank you guys for listening.